We don't know the hour or the day. Time is such a gift, try and control your destiny. We don't know the hour or the day. Unity is strength, stand as one without delay. Cause no bad vibe, me a John. Me no want a bad vibe, me a John. I just peace the times all around, yeah. No bad vibe, me a John. No bad vibe, me a chant. Say me no want no bad vibe, me a chant. I just peace the time all around, yeah. No bad vibe, me a chant.
Hi everybody, how you guys doing? AVM Superhero here. Welcome to another episode of Deaf Taught Us How to Live, special of AVM Awareness Month series. This is part 3. If you do not know, the month of October in the United States is also known as AVM Awareness Month. I know it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we don't want to take anything away from breast cancer awareness, but also we want to bring light to AVM awareness. This is something that I have. It's a rare condition. Only 1% of the world's population has it, and I am fortunate enough to find people through different organizations such as TAF, as well as the Paige Keeley Foundation, that helped me connect with other people all across the globe. And this is no different. It's actually kind of weird because I did say only 1% of the world's population has this. And I know someone that lives in the same exact county, probably about 10 minutes away from where I live, that has the same exact condition. His name is Dominic Cifuni. So let me bring him onto the stage and let's talk with him and see what he has to say about AVM and bringing awareness to it. So let me find my friend Dominic. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Greg. How are you?
I am good, brother. Oh, man. It's been a long time. I haven't heard from you, but it's good to see you each and every time. How you been, sir?
Absolutely. Oh, very well. Yep. Just finishing up our football season right now, and starting out teaching. Still a reading teacher over here in Rockland County. So, getting into that about 2 months in almost.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So before we go into that football season and teaching and all that other jazz that you're so involved in, can you give us a little synopsis of what actually happened to you and why are you on Deaf Taught Us How to Live AVM and Awareness Month series?
Sure. Yeah. So I had a brain AVM rupture. About 17 years ago, summer 2007, July 21st, to be exact. I was walking down the street. So living in New York my whole life, we were on it. My father had a business trip. He took my mom and myself out with him out to California, San Francisco. We had I had a very bad headache that morning. Terrible migraine. I was getting consistent headaches at the time. For probably the year prior to that, I would say the whole year. And we had flown out to San Francisco. I had a terrible headache. I was nauseous. I threw up once. I think it was either the morning. Before we left, actually on the airplane to go to California, I had gotten sick. We landed. We dropped our bags in the hotel. We decided to take a walk, and on that walk, actually, I had I had passed out on the street. I think we were either near or on Fisherman's Wharf. Very luckily, there was an fire truck, not an ambulance. There was a fire truck nearby that had picked me up and brought me to the hospital, and they diagnosed me with the AVM right there on the spot. So I was able to get treatment and everything else out there. That's where I started my recovery, of course, and then I was in ICU for, I want to say, a month, maybe 6 weeks out there, July into August. And then from there, I transferred back into New York. It had flown me back, and I went to Blythedale Children's Hospital over in Valhalla in Westchester, and I did 2 months inpatient. I was able to do physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech with some of the best therapists I've ever worked with. Their entire staff, even to this day, I still see everything. They're posting things online, and they do so much for kids. So I'm very fortunate for that program. And then from there, I transferred back into, and they actually had a school there too. So I was able to keep up with my academics as well for 6th grade. Coming back to transferring out I finished the year 6th grade there. And then from there, I transferred back into my home program right in Clarkstown. I started classes again the following year. 7th grade, I did at Felix Festa. And I did more, not really speech, but OT and physical therapy as well at Helen Hayes Hospital in Rockland County.
So, Dominic, before we go any further, I just want to let everybody know, if you're watching it on any other platform besides YouTube, please go over to YouTube, because this is where we can actually get your comments and we could put it on the show. We could do it live. So if you're not following me or subscribing to the AVM Superhero channel on YouTube, go to it now. Check us out on that particular channel, and you can get your comments in and we'll answer them live. But Dominic, for people that's outside the United States, because I do have people that's outside the United States, you brought up something that they might not understand. I want you to really bring this into focus. You said 6th grade and 7th grade. So if my math is correct, that means you was 12 years old when this actually happened to you. Is that correct?
So it was 5th grade going into 6th grade. So I was literally just about to start middle school. And, that's a challenging time, of course, going into a whole new school. So a lot of anxiety. And then, of course, this happened in the summer. So that adds a lot more to it. So I was 11 years old when this happened, Greg, in 2007. I was 11 at the time.
So I want people to understand a couple of things. You're not too young or not too old to have a brain bleed. That can happen at any age. You can have a stroke at any age. But we keep on throwing around this acronym AVM. Dominic, can you explain what that is, so the people at home that doesn't understand what this is, so we can bring more awareness to what this particular condition is?
Absolutely. So what I had was a brain AVM. AVM stands for arterial venous malformation. It's very rare, and it's an abnormal tangle of blood vessels that can, that'll build up and can rupture pretty much anywhere in the body. Mine was in my brain, obviously, on the right side of my brain. So it affected my entire left side physically, as well as my short-term memory as well. And as I said, it's very rare. I'm not sure Greg, you probably know the percentages, but we're probably you're the only person I know in Rockland County. So, if not, a couple people within the state, but it's very rare.
The weird thing is that after we had our interview, I believe it was 2 years ago, 2 people reached out to me from Rockland County that said they had AVM. So I guess it is rare, but we do know people that know about this stuff. So It is what it is. But the problem is that there's so much of a misconception of what a stroke is, what a brain bleed is, what happens after the AVM ruptures. People get so confused by this. So I know for me, I don't know if this happened to you or not. Maybe it didn't happen to you because you was much younger. But for me, the first thing I tell people I had a brain bleed or I had a hemorrhagic stroke, they will say, well, you need to eat better. You need to exercise. You need to do this. Can you explain to people out there this AVM thing and what it is and how it's actually created inside of someone's body?
Yeah, well, like you said, it's interesting. My perspective on it is, of course, a little different. Mine happened when I was, 11 years old. Actually, quite a few of the people that I've met have all been younger, which is, interesting. Looking into AVM, speaking to doctors, medical professionals, people out in San Francisco, in the TAF organization, which we'll go into in a bit, and just learning about, how it mostly affects people that are older, as Greg mentioned, right? So thought that was interesting. All the people that I've connected with have been quite younger. I would say anywhere between 10 and 30 years old, I would say. So that was quite interesting. And Greg, I'm sorry, can you repeat that your last question there?
Don't worry, brother. I do that all the time.
Yes.
I start talking. I'm like, oh.
Short-term memory. See, I told you.
It's okay, brother.
Yeah.
AVM, shoot, I forgot what I was asking you too. We talked about what it is, the misconception that people have. Can you tell people how an AVM is actually created?
Yeah. So I've heard different things about it being more congenital. It's developing over time, everything like that. I haven't actually heard one exact answer about how it forms. Mine, they had said, was something that I was born with, and there was really nothing that, unless I had a scan, obviously earlier on in my life, that they would have been able to pinpoint at that time. Obviously I didn't have any brain scans, up until that time, of course, the first however many years of life. But if, had been given the opportunity to have those scans, maybe when I was getting those chronic headaches or migraines, they would have been able to pinpoint it and, maybe remove or, use some kind of radiation to get rid of my AVM at
Yeah,
that point. But
that's the biggest thing that medical society doesn't really scan us properly to find out what is going on with us. So I do agree with you. And people that don't understand it's congenital, that means you could be born with it, conceived with this, and all of a sudden it ruptures one day. We're going to talk about exactly what it is and how it's discovered and things like that nature. But we have some comments on here, so I want to address some of these comments before we go any further. Is that okay with you, Dominic, or should I call you DJ? That's what you have on the screen, DJ. So we're gonna go with DJ.
We're friends now, Greg. You call me DJ. Yeah.
Well, you put it on there, so everybody that can see this video knows you at DJ.
You got it. Anyone looking on, you got it. Yeah, you're a friend now. So
all right. So what's our first comment? Can we get our first comment on the screen? All right. We are so proud of you. See, DJ's coming back up. So it's DJ. Keep up the amazing work, spreading awareness. This is a Nicole. Nicole is actually shouting you out. Do you know Nicole?
Yes, that's probably my brother's girlfriend, Nicole. Thank you.
No doubt, no doubt. Okay, let's go with our next comment that we have. This is Lunaverse. This is actually, she's going to be on our last episode of our AVM awareness series. And she says, hashtag AVM awareness. Thank you for sharing your story. And she used the hashtag tribe. Yes, thank you so much for watching, my sister. And Dominic, DJ, thank you for sharing your awareness.
Thank you very much, Lunaverse. Yeah, appreciate you.
So Dominic, you went into a little bit about it being congenital, but I think people don't understand how this is and how it can affect people. So one thing that we need to let them understand is that an AVM, arteriovenous malformation, that you was telling us before, is a clogged up capillaries that are all knotted up. Instead of, when you have your veins and your arteries pushing together and the capillaries is supposed to be like the diffuser to make it streamlined to go to the veins, they're all knotted up. So eventually, sooner or later, it's going to rupture.
Absolutely.
So that's what actually happens when you have an AVM. So it's so rare to have this particular condition that unfortunately, some people have it and some people die from it. And Dominic was saying earlier, and I think it's been said in the medical terminology, this is a adolescent condition, because usually people find out about this or it ruptures as a child. But as you know, last week I had Diane Batchelor, and she found hers when she was past having children, married for 18 years. I think she was in her 60s when this actually happened. I don't want to call her age out. I don't want her to beat me up. But she was an older woman when this actually happened to her. For me, it happened to me when I was at the age of 41. And like Dominic was saying, we never got any scans that indicate this happening, that we will have some kind of problem with our heads. And Dominic, I don't want to take away from your story, but you played sports, you played football, I played football, you were coaching, you were wrestling, you was doing all this stuff that you could have had these kind of brain injuries, and nobody checked our brains. We had to do physicals to actually see if we can actually physically participate in it, but nobody checked out our brains. Yeah. What do you think about that, Dominic? Do you think something should be changed about that, or is medical physicals for sports okay as it is right now?
I definitely think there needs to be more work into that. Like I said, coaching football especially, and seeing firsthand all these head injuries that occur. Not saying that I think there can be some kind of correlation, but maybe doing they do a lot of concussion screening and things like that, but maybe diving more into it and developing these scans You know, maybe, I don't know, maybe not every year, but every other year, definitely leading up to, you know, some kind of annual type of assessments to check on these athletes. But yeah, as Greg mentioned, I played pretty much every sport growing up, from football, wrestling, basketball, baseball, pretty much everything you can do. You know, just getting physicals every other year. You know, I went to the doctor once a year with the clean bill of health. Oh, you know, we'll see him next year, all the way up until 2007, the summer before. Used to get my physicals in the summer. That way I can go right into football in August. And the doctor said, oh, no, you know, he looks great. No problems. We'll see you next year. Sure enough, within the next month, right? Probably in June, like I said, July 21st. So the next month, I ended up in a, you know, in an ICU in San Francisco. So just goes to show, you know, how much more research and development in our AVM world, you know, there needs to be.
And that's why we do this, Dominic, you know, sorry, DJ. This is why we do this, because we want to make sure that nobody ever goes through what we have been through. You know, you look at Dominic, he's going and he's a teacher, he's coaching, he's doing all this stuff. You see me, I do these interviews, I give back to caregiver basket giveaways, and you think everything's hunky-dory. It wasn't that bad. It is a rough journey for the rest of our lives. And just because it happened to us 7, 6, 10, 15, 18 years ago doesn't mean it doesn't affect us each and every day. So we don't want anybody else to go through this, not even our worst enemies. We would not wish this on anybody. This is so hard to deal with each and every day. We wake up, and I'm sorry, I'm putting words in your mouth, DJ, but I know I wake up every morning with pain that I wish will go away, will never go away. It's like I have something on my body that I cannot control, and it's there lingering, looking at me, saying I'm here, and I wish it would go away. Do you have that same type of problems?
Not so much more physical pain, but definitely, like, you know, like my hand still cramps up. People that don't know me, you know, maybe see me walking with a slight limp, things like that. So that used to bother me more. I would say more like mentally or even like emotionally, but I've come to terms with it, and, you know, it doesn't really bother me. I don't really notice it as much anymore. But just as you mentioned, you know, dealing with adversity, I talk to my students and athletes about that all the time. Like you said, we didn't really have an option, you know, of, you know, dealing with adversity. We had to, you know what I mean? There was no alternative. We had this happen to us, and there was really no you know, alternative to it. We had to face it, you know, and overcome those obstacles, you know, at some, you know, like you said, a younger age than others. So
all right, DJ, I want to touch on that a little bit, but my producer was banging us in the head, talking to us that we have some more comments, so we got to make sure we get those comments out.
Absolutely.
So let's get the first one out. Who's this from? This is Angie. She's saying stroke survivor. Yes, we are stroke survivor, and Angie, I guess, is a stroke survivor as well. And she just wants to comment about the stroke survivors and how we are trying to move forward on this. So we thank you for watching us. Next one, Trezana is saying exactly, I guess she's talking about, you know, how our lives to keep on moving on, but this injury happened to us, and we don't want to wish this on anybody else. So I thank you for bringing that out and agreeing with us and saying that we're not making this up. I really appreciate you, my sister. But Dominic, keep on saying Dominic. DJ, that's what you put on the screen. I'm going to go with DJ. I keep on forgetting.
I'm used to both. In the teaching world, I go by Dominic too. So
you got to go by Dominic in the teaching world. They're not going to call you DJ. Teacher DJ, that's not going to work. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
All right, DJ, you said something pretty interesting, and I want you to circle back on that. You said it used to bother you when people look at you and you walk with a certain type of limp, but it doesn't bother you no more. What did you do to overcome that? Because we have some people that's non-stroke survivors, stroke survivors that might have some kind of disability, and they feel ashamed about it. What did you do to overcome? Because before you even answer that, I want to just give you a shout out, because when you was working as a coach at Nyack High School, I went and visited you and we did an interview there. You could go back and check that interview. That was a pretty cool interview.
Oh yeah.
But I just saw how much attention you commanded, and you had your disability, and you was walking around as if nothing was happening, and people still respected you as who you are. They wasn't looking at your disability. They was looking at you as the person. So how did you transform and say, you know what? I have this disability, but it doesn't define me. I am this particular person here. What did you do? What was that process so people could understand it, sir?
Yeah, just really reclaiming my confidence. That was one thing I had growing up, was, that was really big to me. After my my AVM, going back into the middle school, like I said, that was kind of like a middle school for everybody thinks a weird a weird time, right? So going back into that program, with a leg brace, with lower confidence. After a while, the leg brace came off. I was able to wrestle again. I never played football again, unfortunately, but like I said, I'm still coaching, but just really getting through it, right? Going through my therapies, it made me a stronger person, both, emotionally and physically, obviously, too. Getting back in the gym, really building my confidence, being able to exercise again, all those things. So really, for me, the biggest thing was confidence, and just I feel like things, you get stronger over time, right? Like anything else. So just with time, I was able to, really embrace my position, and where I am. I'm an advocate now for AVM, right? I'm not so much a victim anymore, right? I'm taking a stance, and we're doing that together. So
What do you mean that you're an advocate now? You're not a victim. What does that actually mean? Are you giving me a segue to somewhere else, sir? What are you talking about by
oh
that? You're
man.
an advocate. How are you an advocate? What kind of advocacy are you doing, sir?
Yeah, well, for me, I'm just saying, I don't feel sorry for myself anymore. And I don't think people look at me and, are not in their head. They're saying, wow, look what he's doing now, in his community, in educate. I have a master's degree. I got, I guess 2 years ago now, this, winter 22. I'm coaching multiple sports. I didn't tell you this yet. I just got the head coaching position in East Ramapo for wrestling. So, that's something I'm I'm really looking forward to, and I think
Really?
Greg's gonna be shocked. Yep.
Yeah, that's basically my hometown. East Rampo, you the head coach of the wrestling team over there now?
Absolutely. So it's Ramapo and
Congratulations,
Spring.
brother.
Thank you very much. It's Ramapo and Spring Valley combined. I was asked to be the head coach this upcoming season, so
That is so cool, man.
I'm
I am so
excited.
proud of you, sir. Yo, you blowing me away right now. I got to come one of those matches and see how you guys perform. I'm really
Absolutely.
proud of
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
man.
Thank you.
Oh, there we go. We got another message. So let's talk with this actual message and see what we have here before we go
Great.
into our next topic. Message, please, producer. So Donna Dunkley is asking good night. So if you don't know, that's how the Caribbean will say hello at nighttime. Is AVM hereditary? No, it's not. At least I don't know what it is. As Dominic was saying earlier, it's congenital. Is basically people have it, but it's not something that could be passed down from mother to father or son to daughter, whatever, or father to daughter, father to son, or mother to daughter, or mother to son. It's just some rare condition that happens, and it just comes out. And like we said earlier, only 1% of the world population has it, and unfortunately, you're talking to two of them right now.
Yeah. Some lottery. Yep.
Yeah, some lottery, right? We're the lucky winners. We got the ticket.
Hmm.
Anything else, producer? We have one more. Congratulations, coach. That's from Luniverse.
Thank you.
All right, Dom. So I'm very curious about this because for me, I had to do this transformation from being a 40-year-old man, and I realized I was acting like I was 10 years old, but my body felt like I was 80. So a lot of insecurities happened for me at that particular time. I had to learn how to be a man again. I had to learn how to be a father again. I had to learn how to even socially be outside and hang out with people and carry myself accordingly. So the question I have for you is, when this AVM happened and ruptured for you as a person that was 10, 11 years old, how did you transform into say, you know what, I'm not going to let this bother me. I'm going to go to college. I'm eventually going to start dating. You know, you said something about transparency, you know, and explain how important it was for you to overcome those obstacles you had when people looked at you funny.
Yeah, well, for the first part, like you said, for me, going back, the biggest thing for me, I was, of course, a little worried going back to my old middle school. I don't know if you know, in Clarkstown, we have Felix Festa, which is a very big middle school. It breaks up into half the school goes to Clarkstown North, half the group goes to Clarkstown South. So a very big school. I was very fortunate. I still have a strong friend group to this day, who I'm still very close with, thankfully. But to have that, you know, friend group come visit me in the hospital in Blythedale when I was able to transfer home. I have a very big family here in Rockland County, in Clarkstown specifically. And I had a lot of cousins that came over and checked up on me, you know, really keeping that friend group up, which helped me tremendously in my recovery. And I think I missed your question
Yeah,
there. Sorry.
you missed my second part,
I
and
did.
I'm almost forgotten my second part too. So the first part
Sure.
was, how did you overcome that, and the transparency part. How important was that for you with your recovery? Being honest with yourself, open with yourself, so you can actually recover, and so you can go back to school and get your degree, have the confidence to do that. You know, how important was that? Being honest with yourself for your recovery as a young man?
Sure. So yeah, it was quite a culture shock. You know, going into middle school, I was supposed to be in a lot of these like honors type classes, right? Very advanced. I think in math specifically, and in social studies. I was always a big fan of social studies. So really having to take a step back and you know, work with more of those like inclusion and intensive type classes, like those smaller groups. Like I said, that was a bit of a shock to me, but really trying to keep up with my academics, and you know, really focus not on so much being right the smartest person in the class, but being a better version of myself, really like advancing where I am in my academic and eventually my athletic career. Like I said, I had big expectations for myself. I had two older brothers who were very good wrestlers in high school, so I always wanted to break their records. But once I got to high school, and you know, I started back again in middle school. I started wrestling at 5 years old, and then coming back into it, I was like, you know, there's really no way I'm going to compete. You know, with I had a paralyzed left arm and leg that I had to rehab and everything else to go back into the sport with, you know, people that have been competing for years and strength training and everything else, and having, you know, a strong body on both sides, not just their right side like myself, but you know, not so much competing with them, but competing, like I said, to find the best version of myself. And I was able to do that. And like I said, keeping those relationships with my teammates, with my cousins, friends and family helped me along the way. And just, you know, keeping those relationships solid helped me out.
Let's go back into that a little bit further, because I'm liking what you're saying. You said you wasn't competing with those other people. You was actually, and I'm paraphrasing this part here, you basically was competing with yourself, trying to become the better version of yourself. I think that is missed a lot when we deal with survivors and trying to come back to a person that they was before, or even better. Realizing that if Mary, Bob, and Philip is doing this, that, and another, we can't compare ourselves to them, because we're not them. They don't understand what we've gone through, and we not living their lives. So to use them as a litmus tool to say how good we are is a bad thing. It's all about within ourselves and trying to become a better person for ourselves. So you said that you was doing that, you know, how did you, like, I'm very surprised to hear a 11-year-old saying something like that. Like, I need to do this for myself. I can't stop looking at people and try to compete with them. You know, how did you come to that revelation, and how long did it take you to get there? Because this is very surprising for me, and I'm flabbergasted right now. How did you do that as a young man?
Yeah, somebody said that to me. Probably a good amount of time ago. I don't maybe like within the last 10 years or so that like, geez, like that I was like an old man or had like an old man's confidence or something like that, right? So I had to grow up quick. That, like I said before, that was really the only option. I didn't want to be too sorry for myself. I really just wanted to progress, like I said, in my own way. And I had a doctor actually up in Middletown. I forget, I had so many doctors, but she was awesome, and she had told me, about when I just told her, I was a little nervous about going back into my old school, how that would be, in a different, in my old setting, but in a different way, right, with all these limitations and things like that. And she had just said, don't let them bother you. If anything, just tell them to go scratch or something like that. I forget the word she used, but like I said before, just trying to keep a positive mindset and focusing on my own improvements within myself.
So me and Lunaverse, we had this show called "You're Too Young to Have a Stroke," and that's what people always say: "You're too young to have a stroke." Hey, you look so beautiful, you look so healthy. I can't believe you had a stroke. What blah 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 blah. But within that show, we talked about tribe, having people that will help and support you, that will get you to the next level in your life. And it seemed like at a very young age, you had that particular background. Can we talk about, because you did say that, but you briefly talked about it. Can you talk about how the support of your friends, your family helped you get better? And, do you want to say anything to them right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So just I think I mentioned that I was looking back on our last episode we did together, Greg, and that was one of the things I pointed out quite frequently is just having that support system. My father's one of 13, so I have, over 50 first cousins who, they, love and support me. I, appreciate the heck out of them too. Over the last 17 years that have been there for me. My 5 siblings that I grew up with, have always been very supportive of me as well. And just having that strong base and balance of friends and family. Now, starting in a new school, really building those relationships and creating that community, building rapport with students and faculty. Those relationships have been key since, my AVM rupture out in California. Still talking to the meeting the doctor that helped save my life out in San Francisco, and seeing the look on his face when he saw me, that it's something I'll never forget, and I look forward to seeing him when I eventually go back. But definitely the relationships for me have been everlasting, thankfully.
DJ, I don't know if this happens to you, but it happens to me a lot. It's like people look at me, they feel sorry for me. They're like, "Oh, you lost this, you lost your marriage, you lost your house, you lost everything." I'm like, "Yeah, well, yeah, I did it." And yeah, it is unfortunate. But for me, that's like a conversation piece. Like I wear my disability as a badge of honor. So when people ask me, what's happened to you, what's going on, I see the scar on your head, you're limping like that, you're a big strapping man, what happened to you? It gives me a chance to have my advocacy and to tell people about, a AVM, tell them about strokes and things of that nature. Cause that's the first thing people say, you look so good. I can't believe you had a stroke. So I break down my story. But do you look at it the same exact way? And do you use it as a conversation piece to start off advocacy? Or do you have some other method that you do to actually tell people about your AVM awareness?
No, pretty much the same way, and really focusing on how I was able to overcome all the obstacles and look at the success I have now, from where we started, right? So really trying to keep that what is it, the glass is half full kind of mindset on things, and really focusing on the positive and the journey we've been on, not so much where we started. Obviously it's important to talk about like I said, AVM and what it is and things like that. But I think really focusing and highlighting the journey has been, does wonders for us, and really bringing out that community aspect of it as well.
Yeah, I could dig that. I could dig that. Oh, we got another message coming in. That's my producer making sure that I'm aware of that. We're ready for you. Please bring the message up. Hey, friend. Oh, this is my friend. This is from Rizal. So your journey is such an inspiration. Sharing your story is your superpower. Well, thank you, my sister. I really appreciate you checking in on us and also acknowledging what I do for the actual community. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Gratitude. Dominic, how you went back to school, you got your master's. Are you dating?
I think you know the answer to that, Greg. Yeah, yeah, yes, I
I know
am.
the answer. I just want to make sure the audience understand that. And the reason why I'm
Yes.
bringing that up, Dominic, is that people that go through this, they very, 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 very down on themselves in some way or another. They can't get out that rut. Um, but you went to back to school, you finished your degree, and you found a woman, a beautiful woman that you're dating. I believe you guys are engaged. Is that so, or am I putting things out there?
Yeah, you're putting things out there. So Greg has asked me several times, along with many other people, that when am I get married? That's the next step, obviously, in my relationship. I've been together with my girlfriend now. It'll be 3 years this November. November 27th will be 3 years. My beautiful girlfriend Juliana, who I love very much. I'm hoping she's on here. I sent her the link before, so if not, I'll have to talk to her later. But it's been a great 3 years together. She's amazing and very supportive and everything. She actually flew out to California with me. And I think that was one of the first times, if not the first time, she's ever flown. So I know she was a little nervous, but
Nice.
doing that as a couple really showed, that that we can overcome things together, and showed me that how supportive she is. So that was
No,
terrific.
the reason we got another question, but I want to say this right before we get there because I might forget it. The reason why I brought that
Yeah.
up, DJ, is because I want people to understand that you said a couple of things that brought you to this particular point now. You said
Mhm.
you became very transparent with yourself. You wasn't competing with others, and you just became vulnerable, and you embrace who you was. So by you doing that, can you say that that's the reason why you are a coach now? That's why you are a teacher now. That's why you have your beautiful girlfriend Juliana with you and all that. Because if you were still in that dark depression state, would you be able to have any of these things?
No, absolutely. I absolutely totally agree with you. I don't think that would happen. Just having the positive mindset I do, and real the actual for me, it was interesting. The switch was quite quick from going from that athlete to coach. I was able to work with the youth program right in Rockland County, Valley Cottage Indians football right after my brain aneurysm some time ago, and I coached with them for quite a few years. And then, like I said, going off into college, graduating, coming back and coaching, not so much giving, for me, it is giving back, of course. And many things I do, that's kind of, the motivation, but also not being able to play football. That's what, I try to really instill on our student athletes is, you never know when your last play in a game is, right? Mine was very early in my life, unfortunately, but, I'm fortunate for what I can do. I'm able to coach. I'm able to do many things that maybe other people or other survivors are not able to do. So really focusing on the positive.
Yeah, I could dig it. I could dig it. I really appreciate it. We have some comments. My producer is making sure that I see this. My producer is my daughter, so she's making sure that her dad is on point with things. So
She's
let's
gonna
bring him
give
on
me
the screen. First one, Lunaverse. What would you tell 11-year-old DJ he will experience as an adult? That's a great question.
I've never thought about that one, Greg. That's a really good question. Um, I guess for me, that things will work out. When I first had the rupture, that was kind of something that ran through my mind was, oh my gosh, like what, like I'm not gonna be able to do all these things, but now it's like, well, look how much you can do and how much you've done over the last, um, like it's hard to think about, Greg. 17 years. It's actually wild. More than half my life. So, look at all the things that you can and you will do, right? Keeping that positive mindset.
I love that. And I even love that question because I can imagine that 11-year-old DJ was like, man, what am I going to do now? And basically, if you had a time machine to go back and tell them it's going to be all right, keep on pushing forward, man, I love that.
Yeah.
Next question. Donna Dunkley, Greg, hope you will be right behind DJ. I'm not sure what that means, but I think I kind of do, but I don't know what that means. So I guess I'll take that offline and talk to Miss Dunkley and find out what she's talking about with that. Dominic, so at this particular time, we at towards the end of our show. I beat my producer before she actually put on our music. Well, you could put on the music. I know she wants to do those things. Put on the music. All right. So at the end of our show, we have what's called our hot seat questions, where I ask you questions about our life as an AVM survivor. And I just want you to give us a little soundbite of that. But before I do that, there is something I want to let you guys know. Next week, we're going to have another episode of Deaf Taught Us How to Live, AVM Awareness Series, Part 4. And our guest will be Alina Gonzalez. So check us out, the same exact time, exact date. Everything is the same exact way. So please check us out. Dom, I'm going to ask you these questions. And after I ask you these questions, I'm going to allow you to close out the show. It's going to be your show. You close it out however you want to close out. Give us any information that you want. Any information that you have, any way that you want people to get in touch with you, whatever it is, it'll be your show. So I want to bid everybody good night. So I will see you guys next week. Let me just ask Dominic these questions and I'll turn the show over to him. So Dominic, are you ready for your hot seat questions?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. Give me 30 seconds apiece for each question and let's go from there. Question number 1. What do you expect from your advocacy, sir?
My expectations, I want to raise awareness as much as we can, and as fast as possible, really spread our message out there. I'd love to increase conversations and options for people to get scanned.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you. Question number 2. What is one thing you want people to know about AVM?
Just one thing's hard. So we mentioned in the show, right? AVM, not knowing what it was, for anyone who's watching. AVM stands for arterial venous malformation. It's a rare, abnormal tangle of blood vessels that can occur pretty much anywhere in the body, and it's only rare until it happens to you.
Okay, sir. Question number 3. Where can a survivor of an AVM go for help?
Yes, there's so many resources out there now. I would definitely look into TAF, the Aneurysm AVM Foundation, and look out for Dina and her staff are wonderful out in San Francisco. I really appreciate all they do. Look into it.
Okay, sir. Question number 4. What misconception do people have of an AVM survivor?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few. I would say that it mainly happens, as Greg and I mentioned on the show, it mainly happens to older people, right, at a later stage in their life. Most frequently that it occurs in the brain. I've actually met people, yeah, and Greg can say, it happens in their leg, all over their body. So it's not just the brain. And that, there's similar effects. It's not always the case. There could be different severities. I've met people, I'm sure we both met people, right, that it affects very differently. I was definitely lucky compared to people that I've heard of and have spoken to and have met over the years. So the different severities I thought was very interesting. And I would say focus on what we can do and not so much what we can't do, right? Glass is half full. Keep that in mind.
Okay. Our 5th and final question. What did the threat of death teach you?
The threat of death, it taught me how to live, how to enjoy every moment and not sweat the small stuff. It proved to me that life's too short, right, to focus on all the negative, right? Focus on all the positive that's out there. And I had it. Oh, that's it. Sorry.
You could have kept on going. It's your show, sir. Do you
I
want
know,
to
I
add
was
something
waiting to
else?
close it out though. I'm trying to go in order, right?
All right, then. The show is yours. I thank you for being on the hot seat. You answer all my questions, and I really appreciate you. And I thank you for everything that you do with your advocacy. Keep on pushing forward. I appreciate you, my brother. And like I said, please let me know one of the dates that you have as a wrestling match, because I want to see you live coaching. I want to see the DJ, the Terminator coach. So let me know when you do one of your matches. Okay, sir? The show is
Absolutely.
yours.
Okay. Yep. So like Greg had mentioned, anyone first off who's looking to reach out to me, can reach out to me on Facebook. It's Dominic Cifuni, or on Instagram. It's the same thing, Dominic Cifuni. And I've had people reach out to me in the past. Please feel free. Any questions, comments, anybody just needs some support, or people in your family, anything like that. I've gotten it all. So never hesitate to reach out. We're here to support you. And yeah, just to close it out, I had a quote in my high school yearbook, and it still reigns true to this day. That life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we respond to it. Right. So things are going to happen, but you just got to keep that positive mindset and appreciate, like I said, all that you can do, and just keep moving forward. Keep that positive outlook on life. And thank you, everybody, for being on here. All the comments, like I said, anything you guys need, please feel free to reach out. Any socials, and Greg's got my contact.
Bye, everybody. Have a good night.